You can always tell it's Halloween, not just by the pumpkins or the smell of candy in the air, but by the way the night feels heavier, quieter, like the world's holding its breath. And tonight, I thought we might do something a little different here on the Dark Folio. No monsters, no murders, just me, you, and the stories that make this night what it is. I wrote this with a little outline, a little script, but I'm also going to go off the cuff a little bit and just talk to you about, Halloween and what it is to me. I've always loved fall. There's a certain smell in the air, the crunch of leaves underfoot, festival lights flickering on hay bales and corn stalks, mums at every doorstep. And if you know me, you know I love festivals. If you know me personally, you know that I have sold my jewelry at festival markets and done the circuit, and there's nothing better than a good fall festival. All that festival food wafting through the air, the smell, it all feels like magic. I grew up in Kentucky, and Halloween nights sometimes were cold, but that didn't stop us. We made our own costumes. We went door to door in big groups. Now remember, I'm Gen X, born in 1976, so we didn't have those pre-made costumes. You didn't go to Spirit and buy a costume. One year I was a clown, a beautiful blue and white costume that my mom sewed for me. And I remember one year my cousin went as a robot made out of boxes. Another year I went as a punk rocker, Madonna and Cyndi Lauper style, neon, leg warmers, off the shoulder sleeves, side ponytail. You get the idea. We ran from house to house. We used to go out in the neighborhood as groups, and we would go out and we would stay out till after dark. And I remember one time we went all as a group, and my brother ran ahead of us, and it was dark. We couldn't see where we were going, and he ran smack into a wire fence, and it clotheslined him, and it knocked him flat on his back. It could have been so bad, but we just laughed. We were kids. We were trick-or-treating, and we trick-or-treated, remember, Gen X, we trick-or-treated during the needles and the razors scare. We had to dump our candy out on the floor so Mom could sort it out and make sure everything looked safe. Big bags of candy before trunk-or-treat. This was how you did it. And eventually, when we were older, it became safe to, wander out without the parents and go trick-or-treating ourselves alone in the neighborhood. And as a teen, Halloween meant parties. And when you're talking about rural Kentucky, well, sometimes it meant house parties, sometimes it meant field parties, and sometimes it meant barn parties. And I remember one party I was invited. It was supposed to be a costume party. And I was this nerdy kid, so I spent hours in a clown costume and worked on my face paint. And when I got there, all the girls had decided it wasn't cool to dress up. They wanted to look cute, not be dressed up. But I had worked so hard on my costume, and I was so stubborn. And again, I was such a nerd, and I refused to change. I was just my own person. So I spent the night wandering the barn as a clown. The entire school might as well have been at that party, but there I was, proud, awkward, and very colorful. And then there were the sleepovers, the real fun. Junior year, I hosted a Halloween sleepover filled with teenage girls, tons of junk food, and plenty of scary movies. And we played with a Ouija board. And I still feel bad because one of my best friends got so spooked that she left. And if she is listening to this podcast, many, many, many moons later, I am so sorry that I put you in that position. We played outside in the dark with only the cornfields behind us as our backdrop. And yes, someone got sick from all of the junk food, and I had to clean it up. Because as Gen Xers, well, our parents did not wake up over spilled snacks unless someone lost a limb. And I have great movie memories from Halloween from back in the day, too. I used to work at a video store back when VHS was a thing. If you young listeners don't know what that is, you might want to Google it. But we had some great Halloween staples. They were something special. There used to be a made-for-TV movie that came on every year, and it was called The Midnight Hour. It had Reading Rainbow's LeVar Burton and Sherry Belafonte in it. It had a great musical number. it was a fabulous movie to watch every year. We would pile in, my mom and I would watch it together, and it was so much fun. And even now I've made my kids watch it. You can find it on YouTube, actually, or used to be able to. And so that was one of the movies that I would pull out every year. And I also like more obscure movies back from the 80s. And so a couple of those one of those that I believe I made everybody watch during that junior sleepover was Witchboard. And if you watch Days of Our Lives back in the day, you remember Patch? Well, Patch was in Witchboard. And that was hard to find for a while, but I believe you can find it online now. So I would recommend that if you like scary, kind of obscure, off-the-wall, cheesy 1980s, early 90s movies, that's one to watch. Also, if you haven't watched another one that's kind of obscure but was really good and stuck with me all these years, Lou Diamond Phillips, he has a movie called The First Power. It's a great movie. If you can find it, watch it. Of course, The Lost Boys became an all-year, all-the-time favorite. Had to watch that. I mean, you can make this weekend, Halloween falls on Friday, so just make this a Halloween weekend, right? Watch some of these recommendations. A couple of my other favorites that aren't really Halloween movies per se, but they are really good. They stick with you. You think about them after you've watched them, and they're more psychological thrillers. You know, if you liked Sixth Sense, you liked that twist at the end, watch Frailty with the late and great Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, or Primal Fear. It has Richard Gere and Edward Norton in it. Both of those fabulous movies. And of course, you know, it is Halloween, so some of my other have to watch it every year is The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. And now with my own kids, we've added Halloween Town and Zombies to the rotation. These are all films that carry the perfect mix of nostalgia, spook, and seasonal magic for me. And of course, Halloween wasn't always about candy or movies. And if you know me, I am full of useless information and trivia. Long before the pumpkins crossed the Atlantic, we had Samhain, the night when the veil between the worlds was said to grow thin. Fires were lit to guide the spirits, and people honored the dead while warding off those who might wander too close. That tension between the living and the unseen is part of what makes Halloween so enchanting. And that jack-o'-lantern that you put on your porch? Well, in Ireland, people hollowed out turnips, placing a candle inside to warn off Stingy Jack, a trickster doomed to roam the earth with only a lantern. Pumpkins replaced turnips in America, and the glowing faces became a symbol of our modern Halloween. And costumes, like I mentioned earlier, well, they had purpose beyond fun. Disguising yourself as a ghost or witch was thought to protect you from wandering spirits. So when we ran around as clowns, robots, or punk rockers, we were carrying on a very old tradition, though we didn't know it at the time. In Scotland, children went guising, wearing masks or fancy dress, carrying lanterns, and reciting poems in exchange for treats. Trick-or-treating today is practically a direct descendant of that old custom, minus the wandering ghosts, of course. And one final curiosity. Apples were favorite for Halloween games. Bobbing for apples was more than a game. It was a way to predict romance or fortune in the coming year. Imagine that, your snack telling your fate. Spooky? Or maybe just deliciously fun. So, my dear darklings, my kindred spirits, my listeners, my friends of the night, thank you for keeping me company in the dark, for opening this little folio of stories with me week after week. You make the night a little brighter and the strange a little sweeter. And I hope that wherever you are tonight, whether you're carving pumpkins, you're sipping something warm, or you're just letting the shadows dance across your walls, you feel the same magic I do this time of year. Thank you for hanging out with me. And if you like just me and you having a little fireside chat like this, less scripted, more talk, let me know. I love to talk, and I'd love to share with you. So have a great Halloween, and I will see you later, my spooky little friends.